values of the cells B4 plus B5 plus B6. So in our formula, we're going to write equal B4, and you'll see that when I write B4, it'll highlight that cell, plus B5, and now it highlighted the second cell, plus B6, and now we'll click enter, and there we have it. We've calculated that we spent a total of $62.75 on that day. We've written our first formula in Excel where we've added the 3 values of these cells. And by referring to the cell and not the number, it allows us to change the values of the cells, and this change will be reflected in the calculation automatically. Let's move on to the next calculation, which is the subtraction. In this case, we have data of the units bought and sold of an item in our inventory, and we want to write a formula to calculate how many units are left in stock. To do this, we're going to calculate the difference between the units bought and sold, and as you can imagine, it will be very similar to how we would calculate it in the calculator. We're going to select cell E6, which is where we're going to write our formula. And since we're writing the formula here, remember we're going to start with the equal sign. And now we want to do the units bought, which is located in cell E4, and you'll see it's highlighted, minus the units sold, which is located in cell E5, and we'll click enter. And now we've calculated that the units that we have in stock are 746. Going back to the equation that we wrote, a little shortcut that we can take, and I'm going to delete it so that I can rewrite it again, but a little shortcut that we can take when writing our equation is that instead of typing out the cell as E4, we can actually just click on it, and it'll automatically put the value of the cell or the cell reference in our formula. So we could do E4 minus, and then just click on the second cell, and it'll insert it as E5, and we can click enter. Now let's turn to the third example, which is the multiplication. In this case, we have a series of items that have been sold, and we have a record of how many units of each item have been sold and what the unit price for each item is. For each item, we want to calculate the total revenue from the sale of that item. To calculate this, we will have to multiply the units that are sold by the price per unit for that item. So let's start with the first one on cell I4, right? So we'll click on that cell, and we'll start our formula with the equal sign. And we're going to want to multiply G4, so let's click on that cell. And now, to multiply on the spreadsheet, the symbol that we're going to use is the asterisk. So we'll have G4 asterisk H4, and then we can click enter. Take a moment to practice the multiplication with the other 2 items and come back when you're done. Good job. The result of these 2 calculations should be $87 and $21. Moving on to the last example, which is the division. In this example, we want to calculate the monthly salary from the annual salary. So we have here our annual salary, and in the cell underneath, we want to calculate our monthly salary. If we had a calculator, we would divide the annual salary by 12 months of the year to get the monthly salary, right? Well, we could do the same in spreadsheets. With what you've learned so far, try to think of how you would write the formula to perform this calculation. We'll select cell L4, where we're going to write our formula, and we'll start with the equal sign. Now we're going to click on cell L3, and then to divide that by 12, we'll use the slash symbol, which is a very common symbol for dividing, and now we'll put 12. So we can see that in formulas, we can combine both cell references with numbers or values. And when we click enter, it'll calculate the monthly salary of $4,333.33. Good job. In this task, we've learned about the general format of using formulas in Excel and how to write simple formulas to perform addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. In the next task, we will implement these formulas with the sample data that's a little more complex from our sales data tab.